Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Angelfish and today we are covering polypropylene hair, specifically in regards to Generation 3 of Monster High, and with the recent news that Skulltimate Secrets Series 2 Furidescent line has polypropylene hair on, I believe, every single character that is part of that assortment, which is disappointing news to hear. I'm not here to defend polypropylene. I personally, it's a hair fiber I have to live with. It's not great, but I can't really shoulda, woulda, coulda because I don't work for Mattel, so I can't really do anything beyond critique its usage and do something that is more helpful, which is actually teach you guys how to at least decently take care of the hair fiber, because while it sucks that it's here, it's the reality that we live in. That is the reality of where Monster High is right now. They are using polypropylene alongside saran. Some dolls have it, some dolls don't. I believe at this point in time there are 26 dolls with saran hair, and counting Skulltimate Secrets Furidescent, adding 5 to 16, there are around 21 dolls with polypropylene now, I want to say. Like, they're pretty neck and neck in terms of how many dolls use the fiber. So it's a pretty even split with its usage in Generation 3. And, we can constantly, and I encourage you all to consistently, if you do product reviews, if you leave reviews on Amazon, when you buy these dolls, if they have poly, to consistently mention the hair just as a negative selling point, because I think it's better to talk about the hair fiber in the reviews, in the actual product reviews, especially on listing sites that companies will see, so that they know that premium hair is something that consumers want. Anyway, the reality we live in is polypropylene is here. We don't know how long it's here for, or how long it's here to stay, or how long it's going to be in G3, but regardless, it is here. And Frankie is here to help me today, because they fell out of their little display stand today, so they need a little spa day. And they got a spa day before, so their polypropylene isn't, like, super awful. But I will still be using them as an example today, alongside Miss Claudine Wolf here from the Ghoul Spirit Pack, which, if you've seen, I did try curling her hair, but she's had a few falls since then, so she really needs a spa day. Now, polypropylene, for those of you who don't know, is a light, bouncy, lightweight as in terms of density, hair fiber. It's the lowest grade of nylon. It has a melting point of 160 degrees Celsius, or for my American viewers, 320 degrees Fahrenheit. So generally, that's something to keep in mind, especially if you want to boil wash your dolls. If you do use any sort of heat tools, which, by the way, I know a lot of people will be like, oh, when dealing with polypropylene, just use a flat iron. Okay, there's an asterisk to that, and I need you all to listen to that very carefully. If you are going to use any sort of heat styling tools with this hair fiber, or any doll hair fiber really, the hair needs to be soaking wet, especially polypropylene, and it needs to be a temperature controlled device, because as I mentioned earlier, this fiber's melting point is around 320 degrees Fahrenheit, and I know that sounds very high, but it is very easy to reach that temperature with a heating tool. So you want to avoid it getting that hot, and you want to avoid boiling water that is that hot. You can use hot water to wash polypropylene, but it cannot be higher than that temperature. In fact, I would recommend trying to avoid even getting close to that temperature. Also, last bit of thing, there are some people that are actually allergic to polypropylene. It is a fiber that is also used in medical stitches, so chances are, if you are allergic to polypropylene stitches, you are probably allergic to the doll hair fiber as well, so do be careful. Anyway, with that out of the way, this is a thing where it's like, okay, parents, you might have to do this for your kids, because it does deal with, hot stuff, hot water. or warm water still. You don't want your kids burning your fingers. And I know someone's going to bring it up in the comments. There is the other obvious doll community-ism, which is to just say, oh, just reroute it. But that's not a luxury that everyone has. And I will get this out of the way just very bluntly. I think it's fairly classist to assume that everybody has the option to reroute dolls. For some people, yes, it's viable. But for others, they save up to get that doll. They need to be able to take care of that doll out of box as is, not having to spend extra money, especially because nice hair fibers are expensive. Okay, like if you want enough saran in multiple colors to reroute a Monster High G3 doll, especially Skulltimate Secrets, which is like $30 in the US, you would be paying almost double the amount depending on the amount of colors in the character's hair. Like Frankie here has 3 hair colors. If you were to reroute them with saran hair, it would run you about the same price as the doll themselves right now, and that's if you get that hair from a reputable seller. On sale, mind you. The price of hair fibers fluctuates. It's never consistent. So I will never in a million years recommend to somebody to just reroute it. No, that's a little classist. I'm not gonna lie. Like, very blunt. Not everybody has that option. We need to stop saying that as our go-to thing. Anyway, materials that you will need for taking care of polypropylene hair. Alrighty, so obviously you're going to need your doll, but you also might want any sort of hair wax or water wax, styling wax. That's going to be really helpful. You'll want a comb of some sort, yes, even for curly poly, at least if it's this kind of curly. If it's super tight, like actual 4C curls, this isn't going to do anything, but if it's like this, then a fine-tooth comb or a rainbow high brush will work. And you will obviously need a glass that is microwave safe, just because you will be pouring hot water into that or using hot water with that. And I also want to get out of the way too, if you want to just wash your doll's hair in warm water in the sink with shampoo and conditioner, that is fine as well. In fact, that's usually the first step to taking care of it anyways. But if you don't want to, do anything after that and want to actually style it, for, Claudine, for example, braiding it while it is still damp into micro braids is a viable option, or braids of any size, really. Just braiding polypropylene is also a very good way to take care of it. Just make sure to put a little bit of styling wax in it so that you don't get as many flyaways. And also, this is the last thing before we get into the actual process of taking care of the 2 dolls that I have with us today. Now, come in, children, a little closer. Mijes, gather round. Fabric softener is a big no-no with any sort of doll hair fiber, but especially with a fiber like polypropylene. It will damage it. Now, fabric softener does tend to damage doll hair just in general. It's a big no-no. Despite what WikiHow says, despite what Facebook moms say, it's not good. It makes the doll hair greasy, smelly. It's prone to mold if you leave the fabric softener in for too long. It doesn't dry well, it can cause skin irritation, and that's the big thing too, especially if you're trying to fix up a doll for a child. Do not use fabric softener. It can and probably will irritate your child's skin. I don't care if you're like, oh, but my child doesn't have sensitive skin. No, fabric softener is a skin irritant. It doesn't matter if your child has eczema or no skin conditions whatsoever. It will irritate their skin because it is a chemical, and you do not want to use it on your doll's hair. Okay, Mama Angelfish mode deactivated. It is time for tutorial Angelfish, and we are going to start with Frankie because they are the easiest to do first because they just have straight poly. And generally, it is easier to take care of straight hairstyles with polypropylene than it is with any other style. And first step is obviously to undress our doll. So our dolls are undressed. I have a towel wrapped around Frankie for modesty reasons, because I know not everybody is okay with doll nudity, But I do advise you to undress your dolls for this. I see people wash their dolls with their clothes still on all the time. I do not recommend doing this because some fabrics hold on to water longer than others, and you may accidentally cause your doll to mold. So just strip them naked, okay? It's just a lot easier. With that, it's time for a change of scenery. Alrighty, I again apologize for the echo, but we are once again here in my bathroom. Ooh. Anyway, we have wonderful natural lighting to work with in here today. And I think I'm actually gonna do Claudine for the hair washing part, because I think that's easiest. This part is not as structured as the intro to the video was, because I actually had a script for the intro to the video. Sorry if my sink is a little loud, but what you're gonna wanna do is just wet your doll's hair, and this will take a bit, because polypropylene is hydrophobic. It can get wet, but it takes a bit. It takes a bit to saturate it with water because it doesn't hold on to moisture on its own very well at all. I don't know why that is. It's just how it is chemically composed. Now, her hair has enough water to lather some shampoo into. This will help get any dust or any factory gel out. Now, because I've had this Claudine for a while and I've already done this to her before, she doesn't have any like gel in her. She just has a little bit of dust from falling over the other day. So yeah, and I'm just gonna run it through her hair, wash it out. You can also feel where the tangles are during this process, and that's gonna be helpful for when you start to detangle her hair later. I'm sorry if you guys aren't super in frame. My sink is an awkward shape. I apologize. But we are doing with this what we can. Ay, Dios mío. Okay, I can feel where the tangles are. So, now it's time for conditioner. Alrighty, conditioner time. Just get as much of it in there as you can. As much of it in there, and do not rinse it out immediately, okay? You're gonna need that conditioner in there while you detangle. This is just like what I did with Claude, if you watched that hair video, which I will put it in the end card if you would like to. Now, he has Saran hair, so his hair was a lot nicer to work with, comparatively, but similar process. Condition the hair. And I know there's people in the comments screaming about, oh, why are you putting conditioner in your doll's hair? It's bad for it. It's bad if you leave it in for too long. If you're just going to be rinsing it out, it's fine. What you need it for is to tame any flyaways and to detangle, okay? And this is, I hope everybody who has access to dolls has some form of conditioner and shampoo at home. It doesn't need to be any premium brand or anything. It just needs to be something that you can use to moisturize and get some slipperiness into your doll's hair. I can see she's got a big knot in here, and I'm gonna have to go grab my scissors, which I did not bring in because I didn't think she had any left over. So I will actually be right back. Alright, now thread scissors will be the most helpful for synthetic hair fibers, because it is basically just fabric, and you just want to trim any knots that you get at the ends out there, just so you don't have to deal with them anymore. Now, detangling can be a long and tedious process, and I will not sit here and do it all for you on camera. I might do some of this off camera, but you get the point. You know, work in sections, work slowly from the ends. That's important. Don't start from the roots. Start from the ends, especially with hair fibers like poly that are in a wavy sort of texture. I don't know how crimped works. Generally, crimped polypropylene doesn't need a whole lot of effort or work done because it's treated a lot better in the factories than straight and wavy polypropylene is. In fact, it's generally a much more pleasant experience with crimped polypropylene than with wavy or curly or straight. And by curly, I mean like ringlets, super tight curls like 4C. I don't actually see a lot of polypropylene 4C curl dolls. It's usually saran for them, which is good. But if they do have poly, I would imagine you treat it similarly to any other 4C doll hair, which would be just use a hair pick and some conditioner or curl cream. You know, treat it like you would the human hair texture. And that's generally just the rule of thumb for dolls in general is, you know, it's still hair. I mean, while it's not human hair growing out of a scalp, you can treat it and take care of it similarly in some respects to human hair. Now, obviously, you don't boil wash like a human hair, I don't think. But, you know, we trim split ends off, we detangle using similar methods, we style using similar methods, and it's not as intimidating as it looks. I'm just sort of rambling. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying not to be super off camera for this, because this is an important video to do on camera. But yeah, I think you get the gist. I'm going to finish detangling Claudine in a little bit off camera, and then I will show you how to, you know, set her hair and stuff. Alrighty, so I have trimmed every end that was like super matted and tangled. I have detangled everything. Now what you're going to want to do is just run that under some warm water, not hot water, warm water, you know, in your sink. Rinse all of that conditioner out. Run it under a couple of times. Make sure to run your fingers through it all as you go too, just so you get all the conditioner out, but also so you're, like, you know, taming the flyaways as you go, because that's the goal of the conditioner, is to help detangle and get rid of flyaways. Now, next, after this, let's see if I can, there we go. And you'll feel, once you get all the conditioner out, you'll start feeling the texture of the hair fiber, which polypropylene does have a slightly more coarse texture as a fiber than the other fibers Mattel uses for Monster High, which, like, I'm saying other fibers as in past and present, because people do buy secondhand G1 dolls, and Kanekalon was used in G1. It's a fiber that's no longer in production, but, you know, I'm bringing it up here because you'll be able to feel when the hair doesn't have any conditioner in it. And you're going to want to, like, comb through one last time, and now that you've detangled, you can actually start from the roots and go outwards, and that'll help smooth the hair down. And then, let's see, I need to grab a little bit of a towel here real quick. Okay, so with a towel, you're going to blot off any excess water, but you don't want to dry the hair completely. You need it to be at least a little bit moist. I know we hate that word, but, you know, it's the accurate descriptor here, or I suppose damp. Just a little bit damp. And this is where the styling wax comes into play. If I can get that open. Now, with styling wax, you just wet your fingers, go in there, and what this will do is this will help keep flyaways in check. You're just going to work that into her hair. It will also help the hair fiber not feel like garbage. You know? Because polypropylene, it does, I'm not gonna lie, it feels like basura sometimes. It's a pretty shitty hair fiber. I'm not a fan of it. Depending on the state of it fresh out of box, sometimes it even triggers my sensory issues, which is not great. And you can use a comb to get the wax evenly distributed throughout the hair. You can also use the wax to style the hair. If you want to do finger curls, now is the time. You can also use foam rollers with polypropylene hair, and you don't even need to boil those in place as long as the hair is still damp. Just let it dry overnight if you put any foam rollers in, and it'll hold the shape. It'll hold the curls. Now, the wax isn't necessary, I should say, but it does help quite a bit. Just make sure not to get any of it on your doll's face, because you're going to have like a glossy little stain there if you do. And that's not always fun. Make sure you're coating like the back and the front of the hair. And with that, Claudine is actually done. I'm going to get some of the wax off of her face using water and a washcloth or small towel, and we're going to set her off to the side to dry, and she should be fine. We're going to go and do method number 2 with Frankie now. Alrighty, so method number 2, you need the glass cup for. Fill it up, not all the way, and you're going to microwave it for 30 seconds. Be sure to check the temperature when it's out of the microwave. It should be about 200 degrees fresh out of the microwave. What we're not going to do is dip our doll in straight away. Instead, get your conditioner and squirt it directly into the water. I apologize for that noise. Once you've let the water cool down and stirred in the conditioner, it should be about 100 something, like that's the range you want it in. Now you can dip your doll's hair in. And the reason I want it to be in the 100 range is because it's a lot safer. 200 is too close to the melting point. I know it's only 100 degrees away, but it's still, you know, every degree counts. You don't want the water to be too hot. You don't want to burn yourself. And then you can just detangle and comb through from here, and it moisturizes as well. You get the point. Apologies for the time skip, but we are back. We trimmed Frankie's ends and stuff. You're going to want to let them dry overnight, so don't redress them immediately. Claudine still has a flyaway up front that I'm going to have to pluck out individually, but that's fine. As you can see, overall, the treatment is a lot better, and when they dry fully, it will look a lot nicer. And that's just generally how you keep polypropylene well maintained. Again, the water wax isn't necessary, but it really helps. And it honestly, it doesn't even have to be like high quality wax. It just needs to be hair wax. You can use the dollar store stuff and it'll still get the same effect because hair wax is hair wax. So long as it's not the kind that's meant to be rinsed out like completely. But yeah, that is how you take care of polypropylene hair. I hope that this helps. You know, it's here. We don't know how long it's going to be here, but we need to learn how to take care of it since it's sticking around. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.